Hello, and welcome to another episode of Python Finance. Today we're going to show you how to take this code that we wrote yesterday and turn it into a function, right? So we could run this script and import data using the script from any file, right? So we're going to show you how to open this file from any other file in three ways. The first one being the most complicated, and the second one and the third one being more efficient, but it will only be available through IPython. So the first way you can follow along, second one, get IPython. Spider already has IPython built in over here, but if you only have regular Python, you're not going to be able to follow along for a second step. Alright, let's start. So as you can see, this was the code that we got from last video, and I will link it under the description just in case you want to see it. And from now on we'll start defining functions. A function is pretty much it's almost like a machine, so it takes in an input and it returns an output, almost like an equation in real life. So it takes some variables in and it returns something out. And these are very useful because we could write a function set functions and it automates anything for us. So right now we'll write a function called getstuck. Right, so we'll take in so we're pretty much going to rewrite this function over here called, well, not this function, I mean, well, this line of code, right? So stock data, so as you can see, we're going to need a company, right? So company name, and that's going to replace this over here. And then we're going to need a start and end. Since the end is always constant, which is the most recent date, we're just going to need a start date, right? So we're going to need a year, month, and day, right? And from then we're going to copy this line of code over here, and our start will be a year, month, and day instead of this. See, we don't really have to rewrite much. And now, what else do we need? And now you see that over here is going to be calling company, but since there's no attribute company inside the function, we're going to have to change it to something that it actually recognizes. So instead of company, we're going to change it to company name. Perfect. Now that should load up our data. And let's see if we're missing something else. So the thing about functions is that sometimes you need to turn it. You need to explicitly tell the function what to return, right? So let's say in math you have a value, let's say you have a function y equals 2x, right? For every value of x you get a specific value of y, right? So return pretty much does the same thing. It tells you what a specific value is a function going to return, and we want it to return this data frame object, which is stock data, right? So now we're going to print our getstuck company name, so it has to be a ticker. So let's put Tesla. Let's make a new company because I'm tired of car companies right now. Google, I don't know alphabet. Google, damn, I don't even know any tickers on the top of my head. Alright, fine, we'll use Tesla since I can't even recall anything. And then let's put a start date, which is year, month, and day, right? So it's year, month, and day. Let's say 2015, month, first. Okay. So let's say we turn that, and we run it. And as you can see, we have a data frame object, right? We could even type in what kind of objects that a function gives us. And if you can see here now that the return is actually a pandas core frame data frame. Okay, so it's a data frame that's being returned, and that's exactly what we wanted. So we could also assign these outputs a name, right? So we could say Tesla equals getstuck, and tells you what we need to put in. Sorry, what we need to put in. Tesla. I'm forgetting to spell Tesla. And the year 2015. Oh, that's in the future. We can't have that. All right, 2015. The month, the first. All right, and then we want to print out the head, the first 5 lines. Sometimes it doesn't tab complete for us. Whatever. And let's say we also want to get a different company, right? Let's say we want Ford. Ooh, I know another company. Twilio. Alright. Get stock. Twilio, and then let's put 2019-11. Yeah, Twilio is a recent company, so it's not going to have data from that far back. And now we're going to print out Twilio. No, sorry. Now we're going to print out the same thing. So see, we're still using pandas notation to give these variables names. Alright, so let's see what happens when we print those out. So as you can see here, we actually have 2 data frames exactly how we wanted, but it has the same name. So the columns have the same name. So let's say we want to import like 10 different stocks, right? And we want to differentiate them from each other. So what we're going to need to do is write another function, right? Called rename stocks. And what we're going to be doing with this function is that we're going to put in a data frame and the name that we want, and it's going to return a dictionary of values, right? So in this dictionary of values is going to show us the new values that we want. So rename stocks. Actually, you could put it in the bottom. That'll make a lot more sense, wouldn't it? Dev.rename stocks. So it's going to take a data frame, and it's also going to take in a new name, new word. Let's put in new word. So it's going to return a dictionary. And in this type of format, it's going to be different than our regular dictionary building. So usually if you want to loop something, use a for loop, for, while, if loops, right? But instead of doing that, we're going to be using something called dictionary comprehension, right? So type in dictionary comprehension. So this is pretty much a type of notation that makes code much easier for us. And instead of using a for loop, it makes everything into a one line of code, right? So it makes life easier for us, but it might be really difficult to read. So on the left hand side, we'll have our values that we want to output, and on the right hand side, we'll have our iterator, right? So we're going to return a dictionary that uses I, so the difficult thing about this is that you don't know what I is yet, so you have to be a little bit imaginative. So we're going to return I, and we're also going to be using string formatting, right? So in this one, it's going to have two values, 0 and 1. The format, and it's going to bring out the old value, which is I, and the new word. There we go. And now we have our for loop. See, we have our iterator for I in data frame the columns. So what data frame dot columns does is just gets every value in the columns, every name of the column. So let's say, what did we have? Test. Let's say Twilio the columns. See, it pretty much has all the values that the columns has. So it's an iterator. So we just pretty much iterate for every value, right? For every value that we have here in I. So it's going to be an I. So hi. So it's going to return hi, hype, and then the word, right? So let's run that code right over here. And let's run it with Twilio. So rename stocks. So our data frame is Twilio. And our new word will be Twilio. So it should return a dictionary, see? So hi, what used to be hi is going to be called hi Twilio. What used to be low will be called low Twilio. Close Twilio. Volume. Yeah, you get the idea. So we're gonna move this function up top here, because we're actually gonna call it over here in our getstuck function. So now we're going to call stock data equals stock data dot rename. So what pretty much this does is that it renames the columns using a dictionary. So rename, I'm going to cheat over here and see what I had. I don't really remember what stock rename data frame. Rename. Sorry for taking too long. Maybe I might cut this part out. So our index, right? So it takes in an index. So it's going to take in an index, and we're going to say that it's going to be a string, and that string is going to be inside our dictionary. Remember how this is a dictionary in here? So we don't even have to call a dictionary. We just need to rename the. What happened here? We just need to rename the function. You just use the rename function, and that output's automatically going to be a dictionary. So our columns, does it even take columns? Let's see. Yeah, it takes in columns. So our columns will now be the new dictionary values. So rename stock. And now it's going to take in the stock data, right? Because it takes in a data frame first. And then we also need the new word. And the new word will be the company name. Right. So this line of code renames our stock data. And now let's see if it actually works. So print get stock. Let's try Honda. So it's HMC, company name, year. Let's say 1999. Let's say the 5th month and the 5th day. And then put head. So I really want to print out a few lines. And let's see what happens when that runs. So as you can see now, we actually have new values, which is exactly what we wanted. But remember how yesterday in the last video we made daily return, right? So in order to make that appear for every single dev frame, we're going to have to rephrase this, right? So as you can see, it's going to be daily return of HMC or whatever company we want. So daily return, and we're going to have to put a parentheses here to insert it. And then it's going to be format. And now we're going to, in that variable, it's going to go the company name. Right, so now what you could do is just copy this over here and paste it whenever we see that. So we adjusted close, company name. Company name. Company name. Now let's see if that works. We should have a new column. So see, this one has 6 columns, this one has 7 columns. Daily return HMC. Perfect. So it's pretty much all the code we need to run any single function and give it its own different name. And since we have all these values inside our 2 functions right over here, we could just delete all that. And now we can start. So import data meter, import web. Why is it giving me some errors? We should be fine. I don't think there's any errors. Alright, so let's save that right over there. And what's that error over here? Unidentified end. Oh. Yeah, we need an end date too. Sorry. Let me copy and paste that end. Almost forgot. Yeah, see, we defined the end over here, but we didn't define it over there. I'm so glad this editor caught that. Yeah. Download Spider, guys. It makes editing so much easier. And let's see if that works without the thing we deleted right over there. So it should work now. Getstuck, HMC, and let's say for 2019, let's say if it works for them. Not head. Oops. Let's see. Oh, okay, it works. Perfect. Alright. I'm so glad that we caught that. Alright, so that's pretty much all we need. So we transformed yesterday's code into this. Alright. So as I promised you, I was going to show you how to load this this new file into whatever we needed. We need to run this code once. And I'm going to import sys.path.append, and we're going to get this path, which isn't actually the code that was given to us. It was actually this one. This is our actual path. Sys.path append, and then sys.path video code is there. So we downloaded it twice. We could even take that out. sys.pub. Let's see your sys. Now, see, now it only has one. All right. So now that we have that, we could just import sys whenever we want. I mean, we could import stock reader because Python recognized that as part of its path. Let's see, it worked. All right. So we could even put SDK as the name that we have to. And now we could use stock.getstuck. And I remember we need the company name, F, and then we need the year. So let's say 2009. That'll be F. Now we want to print it. So let's see if that actually runs. So yeah, by using import, we are actually using, well, we're actually running this file in here. So that's the hard way of importing things. And now instead of using all that, what we could have done, since we have IPython, is we could have ran all this. And now we could just copy this whole entire path. Remember, you need to use double quotations. Alright, and then what is it? Stock reader.py. Okay, that's the name of our file. I don't know why I showed a figure. That's so weird. Alright, perfect. So pretty much we could do the same thing over here since we loaded it. And we could do the same thing. But keep in mind that we have only loaded this into our console. So it only works with the console down here. See, now we have HMC over here. And this way, you know, instead of copying something all the way to your directory, what you could just do is run things directly down here using the run magic command. But if you don't want to do that, you could just put load as well if you want to see what you're actually getting. Load. And then we now we copy and paste this over here. And it actually shows exactly what we have in our data. So one thing that I recommend for you guys is when you're writing down functions, you need some docstring. And what a docstring is, it's actually a description that appears when you write down your function in case you need help. So we could put over here that it returns a pandas data frame from the date of the stock of the ticker string. Let's see over here that we want a string from the string you specified. String in from the ticker and say returns a pandas data frame of the company name and date specified. And over here we put returns a dictionary of the new column names with the new word. on it. So let's see if that works. Let's run that. Let's delete that, sorry. We ran it. Alright, so let's say you're working on a different file and you don't know what stock.getstuck is. So you could just type in stock.getstuck and put a question mark in front of it. So stock.getstuck, and now it actually gives you information about the function. So it says it has a signature, right? So that's exactly what appears when you're writing down the function. It tells you what to put, and it says that it returns the pandas data frame of the company name and that you specify. So that's exactly what you wrote over here. All right, see? So that gives the user more information of what your function does, right? And now that you have those tools beneath your belt, you could open any file that you want using the import method, right, that we showed you, the load method, right, and also the run method. So those will be used in the future, and I hope this video helps, and we'll just pretty much be building off this video. I mean, well, this script over here, and we'll be using it in future videos. Alright, thank you for watching, guys, and let me know what you think. Let me know what I can improve on. Let me know what topics you want me to cover.